Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Glad to have you guys here on this Monday, the 7th of August, 2023. Thank you for tuning in. Now, I'm going to talk about a deflationary spike event, but first we're going to take a look at some of the things that's happening. Tyson Foods, their earnings are falling short. Waning meat demand. Is it really waning, or is the prices just too high on meat? People are, I don't know, they're just doing without. A lot of people probably. Without much meat in their diet because the prices are so high. But at any rate, waning meat demand. Tyson Foods Incorporated, the world's largest processor of chicken, beef, and pork, tumbled Monday morning in New York after it reported adjusted earnings per share in the third quarter. It missed average analyst estimates. Oh, there's going to be an awful lot of companies getting in trouble very soon. And that's what the deflationary spike event's all about. But let's take a look at some other stuff here. What's going on over there in Russia? U.S. dispatches warships after China and Russia send naval patrol near Alaska. The U.S. dispatched 4 Navy warships as well as a reconnaissance airplane after multiple Chinese and Russian military vessels carried out joint naval patrols near Alaska this last week. Let's put things on high alert. The Doomsday plane flew out of its base. I guess it was in the air when this was happening, and flew to Washington. That's how high alert that they were on. I don't know. They might have been on DEFCON 1 for all we know. You just don't know what DEFCON they're on because they don't really announce it. I'll tell you, your final announcement would be what you guys would find out. The only time you'd find out what's going on is when your cell phone rings an emergency thing and a red flashing thing comes on the screen and it says incoming missiles. That's the only time you guys would know. They don't keep, in other words, what I'm saying is they don't keep you in on the loop on all of this stuff. They have this insatiable desire, and they've had it for a number of years now, not to frighten the public. So they don't tell you how dire the situation could be behind the scenes. Moving on, we're going to take a little talk here about what is a deflationary spike event that I keep talking about. I'm the only one that uses that term for it. But I'll sum it up in a nutshell for you guys what it is. When it culminates, and we've been in this deflationary event for a little while now, ever since the effects started to hit from the Feds raising rates for all that one of the fastest rate hikes schedules that they've ever had. And when the effects started to hit, that's when we went into this deflationary event. And it culminates in the spike, what I call the spike. And what the spike basically is, it's almost like a flash crash that occurs. It's very, very fast. And that's why I call it a spike, because on charts, that's what it looks like. It looks like a spike digging, it goes straight down. The markets, everything goes straight down. It's almost like a margin call. This is exactly what happened in 2008, during the great financial crisis. They had a deflationary spike event. And they said if they had allowed it to continue for just a couple more hours, it would have melted down the entire system. Well, I'm expecting another one of these events, exactly almost identical to what happened in 2008, in probably the next 90 days or so, or maybe a little bit longer, but it's awful hard to time these sort of things. But I'm in expectation of it. And it's going to be when the Fed changes directions, and it's going to cost them an awful lot of money to repair it when it occurs. And I'm going to tell you, look in 2008, when they had that one in 2008, it cost them a heck of a lot of money. Little bailouts to the left, bailouts to the right. And bail-ins, you guys know what a bail-in is? They don't work. Bail-ins don't work. They have to resort to bailouts. Bail-ins do not work. The banks and stuff just doesn't work. People don't like it. Somehow just people just don't like it when they what a bail-in is when they take your money, when they give you a haircut, when they go into the depositors' accounts and they take off say 40% of your money and just take it to bail out the bank that you're with. So say you got $100,000, they say, okay, we're going to take 40,000 of your money away of your account, out of your account. That doesn't work because people don't like that for some reason. They haven't done it very many times. They did it in Cyprus as one of the, I think the first place they tried it on, and the people said, no, but no way, but no, hell no. We don't want you taking our money. Anyway, guys, moving on, taking a look at the silver price today. Oh my goodness, look at that smash. You know, the Fed, they're just going to keep going with what they're doing. As long as the markets aren't really, nothing's cascading downwards or anything like that, and as long as they can maintain a bit of silver to keep this silver paper game going, as long as they can see what they consider to be inflation out there, they're going to keep it up. They're going to probably raise rates again. I wouldn't be surprised. And the cumulative effect is what's going to trigger this deflationary event. It's going to look just like 2008 all over again. Right on the edge of it. Anyway, guys, let's move on. Take a look at cryptocurrency. Oh, we didn't check gold. Silver's at 23.18. It's been smashed, but good. Gold is down $8.60 at 19.34. Taking a look at crypto today. Bitcoin price is at 28,928 for Bitcoin, and Ethereum is at 1821, and we're looking at a XRP at 61.2 cents. Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 310 points on the day so far at 35,376. Something's going to trigger this event within. It's going to look just like 2008, but something's going to trigger it. Perhaps a bank failure, a bigger bank failure, or something. Something will trigger it. And it might only last a few hours or a day or something. It might not last very long. And it's going to be something that is going to also trigger the Fed, because when it happens, it's going to really scare them. Because it's going to be a meltdown within the upper part of the financial system, where one person goes bankrupt or one entity goes bankrupt, and because they went down, the companies that are linked and banks or whatever is linked to them automatically goes down with it, and it creates a wider, it's contagion. So it's called contagion within the system. And so it's going to be a widespread, large contagion that's going to cause a precipitous fall in everything, suddenly and big. And they're going to come in, and what they'll do is they might, if it happens while markets are trading or whatever, they might stop trading, and then they'll fix it. They'll have emergency meetings and they'll fix it, but it's going to cost them a lot of money. And as soon as they fix it, it's going to come at the expense of the dollar, and it's going to be big. It's probably going to cost them in the trillions to fix it, because it's going to be such a big fall, so quick, so suddenly. And then when they fix it, on the other side of that, we're going to see a complete change from what we're seeing happening right now. What we've been seeing happening over the number of months when the Fed's been going through this tightening cycle and everything's being squeezed. Well, this is going to be a reversal of that, because when everything falls, suddenly on them, scares them really bad, then they're going to go back to what's called accommodative monetary policy. And that's going to be no more squeezing anymore. Right now on the economy, what they've got is they're like a python, and they're twisted around whatever they're squeezing, and they're constricting like a boa constrictor or like an anaconda, and they're squeezing tighter and tighter. And right now our eyeballs are all bugging out because of the way they're squeezing us. All of it. We're all feeling it. And they say, oh, it's the inflation. No, it's the Fed. The Fed's squeezing you. When this sudden shock hits, this deflationary event, they're going to have to stop squeezing. And they're going to have to go in the opposite. They're going to have to say, oh, let's resuscitate this patient. Look, his eyeballs are bugging out. Who squoze him? Oh, who did this? They never take the blame for anything themselves, of course. They always look to the taxpayer to bail everything out. All the money creation, all the bailouts, everything else goes on your tab. And another thing, too, to change the subject for just a second. They're building up toward a big, ginormous war out there. Okay? A big, enormous war. Well, a war that could blow up the world. Well, you say to yourself, well, what can stop them? Well, as the months progress, the next number of months, what they're looking for and what they want the people to get behind the war effort. They want to indoctrinate the people to be all for, like, the NATO nations to be all against Russia and destroy Russia. And they want the people in Russia, they do the same indoctrination over there. They want the people in Russia to be all for the war effort. Let's go get them whatever. So they want both sides chomping at the bit with a bloodthirsty fever to want it. But if the people all don't want it, see, this is what really matters. If all the people out there around the world say, no, we don't want this war, then you probably won't have the war. But if you got all the people saying, let's go get them, then you'll have the war. The people are really, the thing is the politicians, what you'll find is they always check and see what the people are thinking and what percentage of the people are for something or against it. And if the people are not saying anything, if the people are like, oh, ho hum, then they'll go ahead and do it if they think they can get away with it. But if the people say, hell no, we don't want to do that, then they'll back off. This is the way it is. So it's really the people. It has to be unanimous, not just one guy over in the corner saying, I don't really want that. That ain't going to help. No, it's got to be all the people saying, no, we don't want this. It's got to be unanimous. Let's take a look here, or close to unanimous, at least a majority rule, in other words. But you got to understand what their plans are. They've been itching at the bit for like 100 years. Well, not 100 years, but close to it, a long time. Since the last World War, they've been itching for another one. And I know they say never again, but here we are, right on the doorstep again of another enormous. And then after it's over, then they say, why do we do that to ourselves? Oh, never again. After it's over. But right now, we're not in the after. All the people who went through all the misery from the last World War, most of them are under the sod now. And the people that are out here that are cheering for a world war, they don't realize just how bad and how much suffering people have to go through. And each world war is successively worse than the last ones. And of course, the Third World War would be the worst of all. Because if we ever fight a Fourth World War, we'd be fighting it with bows and arrows and sticks and stones. Anyway, So there's where we stand on all that. Anyway, bonds and rates today, we're looking at climbing yields on the long end of the yield curve. A 10-year at 4.08, it's up 2 basis points. U.S. 30 years at 4.24, and it's up 3.1 basis points. And taking a look at the dollar index, is at 102.06. This deflationary event, when it hits, I've been preaching this for about 4 years or more, saying here it comes, it's coming. It's getting so close now, you can see the whites of its eyes. And when it hits, it might not be such a big deal for everybody because it might happen so fast and they might have to fix it so fast. But on the other side of it, gold's going to take off like a rocket ship. So's cryptos. So's everything out of the dollar, and the dollar automatically then is going to start to go into a inflation like we've never ever seen before. Induced by the Fed. So all their fighting to try to stop inflation is going to make inflation so much worse, so much faster. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.